It's now time for What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the city of Asheville, with the host, Mr. Sam Parada, and here he is.
Good afternoon, Asheville. Welcome to What's Up Asheville at WRES Radio 100.7 FM, a radio show discussing projects and initiatives at the city of Asheville. I'm Sam Parada, your host, working with the Communication and Public Engagement department. And with me today, we have, once again, Communications and Public Engagement people. With me, Kristina Israel, who you've met before. She's the Community Engagement Manager.
Hey, it's good to be with you, Sam.
And our newest member of the team, Meredith Friedheim.
Friedheim.
Close
enough. Close enough.
She is our Neighborhood Services Specialist, and you joined us around November, I believe.
It was mid-September.
Mid-September.
And then I went out on maternity leave in January, so it still feels like I've only been here for a few weeks.
You'll feel like that for a long time, don't worry. And we're here today to talk about the neighborhood matching grants. It's the time of the year again where you can come out and ask the city to help you sponsor one of your projects that you have for your community, your neighborhood, but we have the experts here to talk more about that. But before we jump in, I do want to, get to know Meredith a little better. I know you're kind of the face of the city in some community meetings. So why don't you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, so again, my role is Neighborhood Services Specialist, and this position lives in the Community Engagement Division of the Communications Department. So, and there's just two of us in that division. It's Kristina and I. She's the Community Engagement Manager, like Sam said. But my role exists really to go out into the community and build relationships with neighborhood organizations and residents. And so I go to a lot of neighborhood meetings. And so, yeah, I guess in a lot of ways, some residents they see me and they think of the city. And so, yeah, and kind of the purpose of neighborhood services in general is, involved and connected neighborhoods are essential to a healthy community. And so the city wants to build partnerships with those organizations and residents, and hopefully for the end goal of improving the quality of life for everybody.
Love that. Thank you. And Kristina, you've been with us for a year now.
It was a year yesterday.
Oh my God, congratulations.
I know, it feels good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it passed me by. I was too busy to notice.
I think you joined the communications a few weeks before me.
Okay.
So we're hand in hand in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to ask you, how have you seen your position change and evolve in this year? And what are your favorite moments so far?
Oh my goodness, what a great question. So my position's changed a lot just really since Meredith came on board, because when I first started, I was backfilling the role that she's in with neighborhood services, and that was really helpful for me actually, because it got me out in the community, meeting our contacts in those neighborhood associations, and just getting my feet on the ground and getting a sense of the diversity of Asheville's neighborhoods and the needs that are in the community and how those intersect with what we do at the city. So really since Meredith came on board, I've been able to sort of draw my focus more towards how the city is doing community engagement with all of its many projects. So if you think about a capital improvement project like Memorial Stadium, what's happening there, or the Broadway Public Safety Station that's happening, going to be opening soon on Montford Avenue, or one of our transportation projects like the college bike lanes project.
Mm-hmm.
My focus is really at what point does the community need to come in and give us their feedback on whatever we've got this funding for, this project. How's that going to influence the outcome? How do we invite as many stakeholders to the table as possible? How do we remove barriers for participation in city government on the part of our citizens. So that's what's most important to me in my role, and it's really challenging, and I love it.
Absolutely. And not only challenging, but it's a never-ending, ongoing, always evolving task. So we're very thankful to have you on the team. So why don't we jump into the main focus of today, which is the neighborhood matching grants.
Okay.
Last year, I interviewed Kristina for, to go over what it is, how to apply, and I think it's beneficial to go over that again this year. And Meredith is going to be the main point person for that. So tell us, what is the main focus of the neighborhood matching grants?
Yeah, so the Neighborhood Matching Grant Program, this is the third round of this program. And so it's a one-to-one matching grant, and neighborhoods can apply for up to $5,000. And these projects could span from marketing materials if you're trying to spread the word about your neighborhood group and want to get more people to come out to the meetings and be engaged. Maybe you want to do some branding or maybe some physical improvements to your local park or a greenway. Various things like that. We do like to leave the creativity and ideas up to the neighborhoods to figure out what they need and what they value in their specific community. So it's really a cool program. I'm very excited to be a part of it this year. I think it's going to be one of the really rewarding parts of my position, to be working with people on that. But 50% of the match, so like I said, neighborhoods can apply for up to $5,000, and 50% of their dollar-for-dollar match, so $2,500 if they're applying for the $5,000, for example, has to be in volunteer hours. So we really want the grant to be a catalyst for getting groups to engage together, to work together, and to, if whatever their project is, for it to be a reason that their community is becoming stronger and, getting to know each other better. And at the end of the day, they'll have this completed project that is like, hey, we did that. And so we're, in addition to that, encouraging partnerships between, neighborhoods and maybe nonprofits or things like that. So it's been exciting so far. The application period has been open since early April, but it will continue to be open till the end of this month. May 27th is the deadline. So.
And to submit the deadline, they can find it in our website.
Yes, the application, so there is a page on the city website dedicated to the matching grants, and you should find all the information you need to find there. And in order to get to that page, you can just Google Asheville Neighborhood Matching Grants or go to ashevillennc.gov and go into the search bar at the top and search Neighborhood Matching Grants. Should be pretty easy to find.
And we can also email you, of course.
Yes.
Yes, and your email would be...
My email is Friedheim at ashevillennc.gov. And I'll spell it really quick because I know my last name is a little difficult. So M-F-R-I-E-D, like fried, and then H-E-I-M, Friedheim, at ashevillennc.gov. And you can email me if you're a resident of Asheville about, anything you might have a question about from, when is my street getting paved or, to neighborhood matching grant questions. So I'm happy for my email address to be a resource.
Love it. So in this case, let's say that I want more lighting in my street, in my neighborhood, and I think it's going to take $4,000, just throwing a number out there. We would be putting $2,000 forward, and the city, if approved, gives us the other $2,000, just dollar by dollar, and we go through a process.
Yes, and so like I said, 50% of the match has to be volunteer hours. So, you might just apply for the $4,000 knowing that some of your match isn't going to be actual dollar money.
Okay.
That might sound a little confusing, but and then the rest of your match can be made in cash donations from community members or in-kind contributions. So say a nonprofit or a group is going to provide a service to you, but they're going to do it for free, that has a value, a dollar value, and that can contribute to the match.
Okay.
So am I missing anything, Kristina?
No, you said it very well.
Love it. Well, now Meredith will be your point person for this. If you have any questions, if you want to apply, you can find the page in our website at asheville.nc.gov, and you can use the search bar to find the neighborhood matching grants. And you mentioned this is the third year this is happening, and in the past 2 years, I'm sure we have some feel-good stories about projects that have been completed. Do you want to jump in and talk about that for me, Kristina?
Yeah, so round one, those projects that have completed their work, I would be actually really interested to see a couple of these because they were tree planting projects. One was in the Lakeview Park Homeowners Association, and one was the Park Avenue property owners. They both had tree planting projects. One was in a median where they were replacing some cherry trees that had reached their sort of maximum lifespan. Those got put in last year, and so it would be, I think I should probably email them and ask for pictures. I would love to see what the cherry trees look like this year. Maybe they got some photos of them blooming. So those are a couple of examples from round one of physical things that happened. We had a neighborhood that applied to put a sign at the entrance to their neighborhood, just buyer beware. That was a really complicated project. And that kind of brings up the point that Meredith and I are here to sort of walk the neighborhoods through the feasibility of what they propose. We do get ideas that they fill a need, and it's something that the neighbors agree on, and just based on what permits could be required or permissions with various rules and property ownership, it could be a long process. And we try to just be honest about that going into it, so that we're setting the right expectations with people. We don't want to crush people's dreams. We want to support them with the program. And it's not this. Most projects are not going to be a turnkey sort of thing, where you get your $5,000 check and it's going to be done in a couple weeks or something.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring that up. I'm sure there are still projects that just the planning, the process might just take a little longer, but having that financial aid from the city is the main benefit that I see. And just bring the community together, benefits for everyone. But you're also telling me that I can't have my Olympic-sized pool installed.
So projects that would occur on private properties. So the Sam's backyard pool project, for even though your whole neighborhood could potentially enjoy it, taxpayer dollars are probably not best spent funding improvements to your property now.
Okay. But that goes in general, like any sort of any kind of project that affects the private property does not really fall into
eligible.
The category.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So projects on public property, preferably city-owned property. We've had a couple of questions about projects on other publicly owned property that's not city property, and it can be a little tricky. Again, it's just a process we walk through with people, though.
Yeah, and you'll be there to help them. And how about in more recent events? You mentioned coming up, the Shiloh Fun Day.
Yeah. So the Shiloh neighborhood for round two worked with a nonprofit that's based in their neighborhood, Team Us Association, to get some extra funding for their annual Shiloh Fun Day, which happens Memorial Day weekend. So that's coming up. And they were awarded that grant for the 2022 grant cycle, which is pretty cool.
Very excited.
It's gonna be a great festival, I hear.
And there's always something special working for the city, seeing the projects actually happen, especially if you've been working on it for a long time. Like the public station, on Montfort. I'm very excited for that one because it's been going on for a while. But I imagine, if you go see those trees, the cherry trees, it's gonna feel different to you just because you worked on it. And I bet the community themselves, the ones who actually worked on it, it's even more impactful for them. because they came together to make this happen. Meredith, you mentioned a disc golf course. Is it open yet? Or?
Yeah, so I actually live over to that side of town, so I'm excited. I'm very bad at disc golf, but my husband likes to play, so I'll go hang out in the park. But this is at Aston Park, and this was last year's neighborhood matching grants. This neighborhood applied for and was awarded a grant to install a disc golf course at Aston Park. Is it 9 or 18 holes, Kristina?
It's a half, yeah, so it's nine holes.
Yeah. So it'll be a pretty compact course if you are familiar with Aston Park. It's not a huge park, but I think it's going to be great, activity for people to do that's close to downtown. Richmond Hill is the only other city disc golf course, and they will definitely contrast in topography, but in terms of both of those courses. But I think that's one of the that'll be a cool one when it's done.
Yeah, I mean, you brought something new that people want, and it's thanks to you. And then the last one that I want to talk about, which is not as physical, is the South Side neighborhood. What was it you called it?
So the name of the project is Building Community in Historic South Side. So yeah, the South Side United Neighborhood Association. They're a newer association, even though it's a very old neighborhood and a very historic neighborhood. They've had bumps in the road over the years getting their neighborhood association off the ground, and some of the barriers they identified for people to come and participate were they had to be able to offer childcare, and they had to be able to feed people dinner because the meetings happen in the evenings, like 6 o'clock in the evening. And so they use their matching grant funds to support those activities, and it's been really great to see them blossom and come together, and they're a really strong neighborhood association now.
I love that. And these have been a lot of the barriers that we keep encountering in the communications team. And it's I love the idea that people have taken it into their own hands to really go out and fix this major issue. And I love that we're helping them. So again, the due date to apply is May 27th.
Yes, it's a Friday. It's right before Memorial Day weekend, so we thought, let's just make the deadline before everyone goes on vacation.
Very smart. Again, please find the application online on our website at ashevillec.gov, or you can just Google Asheville Neighborhood Matching Grants. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And just think of whatever project your community might benefit from, something your neighborhood needs desperately, or maybe your neighborhood is doing well and you can make it even better. That's the kind of projects that Kristina and Meredith can help you with. Any last things before we move on about the neighborhood matching grants?
So I was just thinking, as you were saying that, so one of the requirements is that the neighborhood be registered with the city. And that's just to make things easier as we go into the funding process. And the funding process can be a barrier for neighborhoods who don't have a bank account, they don't have a treasurer, maybe they're not like a registered nonprofit. And so just one thing to keep in mind, a lot of really cool partnerships are springing up out of this program. If you live in an area of the city where maybe your street is not identified in a registered neighborhood, that can be a challenge, and it could be an opportunity to work with a nearby, like the closest neighborhood association to where you are, to say, hey, we have this project idea, can we partner on this, and to sort of build collaboration that way. And then as far as the funding goes, we have some good examples of neighborhoods who, again, they don't have a bank account, they don't have a tax ID number, but they've been able to ask a nonprofit that they work with frequently to sponsor them as their fiscal agent for the grant, so that when the time comes for payment, the city pays that check to that nonprofit, and then the nonprofit distributes the funds to the neighborhood. So there are ways to, again, we're just trying to help remove barriers and make participation in the program possible. So if you have questions like that, Meredith or I will be happy to talk with you about that as well.
Yeah, we can find a way around it. And I do appreciate that really big topic. So let's say, for example, I live in a street and I'm not a part of the neighborhood. So someone needs to become like the spokesperson for that project. Does it have to be a group of people, or can it be an individual person?
So in the example you gave, you live on a street that is not part of a formal neighborhood association. So the first thing would be to identify, would I and my neighbors like to form a formal neighborhood association, which you totally can. The process is really easy, but you need the buy-in of the people around you, right? So you've got to get out there and talk to people, and that's usually a really great thing when that happens. So
it can be scary too.
It can also be scary. Or again, you could approach the closest, neighborhood association in proximity to you and say, hey, could we join, or something like that, or could we partner on this project? So yeah.
Thank you so much for that information.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, Meredith is your spokesperson, or not spokesperson? Your contact. Yeah, let's call it that. So yeah, reach out to her if you have any questions. Her email again is mfriedheim@asheville.nc.gov. Nailed it. And yeah, just reach out. Maybe this year is not appropriate or it won't work, but at least you have the information and you'll be ready. I assume we'll be doing this next year, maybe, perhaps,
yes,
hopefully.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely. I don't want to speak for other people. So you heard it from Kristina herself. It's happening next year. So in case this year doesn't work out for you, your application doesn't go through, you run out of time, there's always next year, and you can be better prepared. And we'll be here to help you every step of the way. But yeah, I just want to jump back now that we are wrapped up and put a little more of a spotlight on Meredith as our newest member. I do think your position is very important and needed. I know we don't have that many public faces when it comes to going to public meetings or neighborhood meetings. So I just want to get a better idea, this might be a tough question to you, and I'm sorry ahead of time, but when you go out there, do you represent the city as a whole? And when I mean that, I mean like the water department, the transit department, or what exactly do you do when it comes to information about other departments?
Yeah, so when I go out to these meetings, I really look at my job as being an observer, and my job is to listen to these really spirited conversations and important conversations that these neighborhoods are having. Not all of the things that they're doing have to do with the city. Sometimes they're planning a really fun potluck, and that's great. But other times, they're talking about tough issues, and they want to see things get done. And I'm not there to speak necessarily on behalf of any department, because that's not my area of expertise, but any question that I can easily get answered, I will absolutely do that. And so, one of the biggest questions I get is, can we get traffic calming on this street? Everyone's driving too fast. And so I work closely with the transportation department to get those questions answered for people, and really, I would say, manage expectations for the community. It's hard with the budget that the city works with, and all the different overlaying projects that need to work together to create a community that everybody wants to see. And so, when I get asked questions about departments, I probably don't know the answer offhand. And so my job really is to go and find that answer and report back, or to connect the residents or neighborhood with the right person in the right department. So that's a lot of what I do.
I mean, it sounds like a lot of work too, You gotta build the relationships. You have to take into account the history of communication. Anyone, the public was trying to give to the city through public faces. and you're new.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of homework to do and to catch up. And then, relay the information back and forth.
And I would say over time, the purpose of this role and probably of Kristina and I's division is, as we're listening over time and that information builds, we're really not just making those like point in time connections between a department and a resident. It's really reporting back to all of staff in the city, like, this is how we're doing. This is how we're perceived, and this is things that, we can work on. And, Kristina and I aren't like tapping people on the shoulder saying, you need to do better at this. But, it's information that's being collected over time, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it is a history of everything that the public needs and what they've been needing and what they'll be needing in the future as well. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add to this topic?
I love the conversation that you guys are having. When we were in our equity action plan training a few weeks ago, mm-hmm. One of the consultants said, everything that everybody says to you is qualitative data. And that really stuck with me, and especially with the role that Meredith's in and myself as well. Like, everything that we hear matters, and it is our job to make sure that doesn't get lost in the bureaucracy or just it's a big organization.
Yeah, I know. And when I don't know, you need to work on your sidewalk, you might end up thinking that the water department is the person to call. And we have a lot of departments, we have a lot of hardworking people, and it is really our job to connect, make the right connections, make sure the information is going to the right people. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm really thankful for the work you've been doing, both of you, but Meredith, who is now the main face, I suppose, of the public. So yeah, thank you for that, Meredith. You've been doing a really good job.
It's been fun and a challenge, and I've really enjoyed the people that I've met so far, and it's inspiring to see what residents and neighborhoods are out there working to do.
Yeah, we hear that all the time from people outside of Asheville, like, oh my God, your public, your citizens are so engaging. Mm-hmm. They have a lot to say and a lot of work. They like to deal with us, and we appreciate you. And in the topic of engagement, do sign up to our Your Voice, Your Choice project. We have an engagement tab on the website, and you can sign up to be updated in the projects that matter to you. So just go to our engagement site on AshevilleNC.gov, see our public input page, and just start signing up. You can answer surveys, you can tell us what we're doing, if we're doing a good job, or if we need to do some better job in specific areas. We like to listen to hear to all of that stuff, so make sure that we want to make sure your voice is heard, so please come sign up. And yeah, today we met Meredith, we met up with Kristina again. Thank you so much for coming. We're sadly running out of time, but if you have any last few words you'd like to say, any cool new things coming up, now is the time.
I just want to say thanks for having me, and thank you, Asheville, for giving me the time of day.
Yeah, same here, and it's been really fun, Sam. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Stay tuned, and we'll be back to talk about another city project or initiative in the near future, right here on WRES 100.7 FM. Take care of one another, Asheville.
You've been listening to What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville in collaboration with WRES 100.7 FM. This program will re-air every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30. Thank you for listening.